What up, everybody? So, I have a great show today. We are going to be talking about, can sunk cost analysis really decrease your value? So, if you think about it, all the investments that you put into somebody and it just doesn't work out, we're going to dive into that today. So, stay tuned. Let's go on and get a little bit of information for 30 seconds, and I'll see you guys in a little bit.
Welcome to the About That Wallet Show, where building strong financial concepts, strategies, and behaviors has never been so easy to comprehend. Now, here's your host, Anthony Weaver.
Hey everybody. So we're here on a Thursday. Hey, it's all right. This show is going to take some time to rebuild because when it comes to the live shows, I've been doing these on Wednesdays during the season 3, and everybody was going on to them. However, I have to switch over to Thursdays because those Wednesdays were really cutting into my sleep schedule because I had to get back up again for the next day. But Thursdays seem to work the best for me as I have a little bit more free time that I can spend with you all. So I just wanted to get that out the way. Let's go on and get into some of the house cleaning items, which is where I have to actually help pay the bills because you got to put food on the table sometimes. So one of the affiliates that I work with is called Earth Breeze. So Earth Breeze has this wonderful product where they actually talk about the power washing tablets, and I definitely love them mostly because they do not leave water spots. I hate water spots. And it seems to be so easy to use. And also the packaging is biodegradable. So you can actually go ahead on and go over to earthbreeze.com. I'm gonna go ahead on and share my screen right quick so you can actually see that. It's so easy to get and so easy um, to follow because we can go to, let's see, well, obviously you won't see it, but Earth Breeze, you can actually find that inside the show notes and go ahead on and get that at earthbreeze.com. I mean, or you just, don't even use that. Go to aboutthatwallet.com/earthbreeze. All right. And when you go there, you'll actually be able to see how much impact you're able to get. You actually provide so much value. But they not only have these dishwasher tablets, they actually do have the great what you call it, laundry detergent sheet. So you like how my shirts are always black without all the extra fizzles and all that stuff like that? It's because I use Earth Breeze. And as you see right here, for those of you who are listening, you can actually go down and get yours today. They actually dissolve in water, nice and easy, removes tough stains, and the packaging is biodegradable and you good for composting as well. So it actually saves you space and has no more mess. So when you're trying to actually put in your laundry detergent, you don't have to worry about being all fizzled and all wet and nasty and sticky. So go ahead on and go to aboutthatwallet.com/earthbreeze and get yours today. All right, so let's go on and take a deep dive into what we're talking about today. Now, one of the things that we want to talk about is sunk costs. And you're actually thinking to yourself, like, what the heck is sunk costs? How is it actually impacting me? And why is it something that I need to worry about? Especially when we're talking about finances. We're talking about that wallet, but we also want to get into why we do what we do. Okay. This show is about your financial habits, helping you build them, but you need to actually plan for the unexpected. But as some would say, if you plan, God will laugh because God always has something special for you that you cannot plan for. When you think about the pandemic that happened, oh man, that sucked, didn't it? Everybody was all excited about work, all excited about going to um, vacations. They had to cancel everything. but you put so much effort into it. And then the pandemic happened that you were not expecting that. And now look at you. You're actually figuring out a way, okay, how can I prepare myself for that next pandemic? How can I prepare myself for that next aha or surprise? And one of those things is that you have to understand is that it takes time to build that muscle up. You've been through it already, but what is the next pandemic? What is that next big thing that could actually impact your finances where you're not familiar with? So you need to build that muscle. Now, having that sunk cost process, you're like, oh, Anthony, you keep talking about sunk cost. Well, what the heck is sunk cost? I don't know what sunk cost is. Well, a lot of us don't know what sunk cost is but we all know is let's think about different things that let's bring up some different scenarios to help you bring that understanding of what is a sunk cost. Okay. So when it comes to a sunk cost, let's think about it. You're making a Halloween outfit, right? You put so much effort into it. Like you're really like getting a design, you're going out, getting the products, you're introducing it to everybody. Like, yeah, look at these designs. I'm gonna make this. I got the pictures out, cutting it. It looks great. Okay. But then you take that time to put it on your child if you have children, or even put on yourself. And then you realize, you know what? I don't like it. But what you do anyway is put it on. You put it on because you put so much work into it, you put so much effort into it. And that feeling you have of throwing it away or just trashing it and just going in with your regular clothes, that's your sunk cost. Okay. One of the things that I had to do was actually get rid of sunk costs. I had to stop thinking about, hey, I put so much effort into this. I need to stick this out because of the time that I put into a relationship. So you might be going through a relationship right now and feeling like, hey, I need to be with this person for the rest of my life. I had babies with this person. I spent bills. They've been through the worst of me. And for me to walk out that door, I feel like, hey, we have so much history together. I don't want to lose this person. I really want to be there with them. But what are you giving up? What is your sunk cost at that point? Your sunk cost for that particular scenario is the emotional side of the house. Though you had so much time into that relationship, your emotions is what's getting to you because the time is that factor. Some people even might think about that project that they have inside the house. You know, that painting that they spent hours on, that they wanted for their children, to pass on. And then they was like, man, all of a sudden their child look at it and be like, nah, let's throw some macaroni at it. They ain't gonna worry about it. It sucks to them. But because they saw that, it's like you're upset. But what are you really upset about? Are you upset that it's ruined? Or are you upset about the time it took for you to create the product that somebody else did not appreciate? Now, that is where you have to start channeling your anger. Channeling not your anger, but also your feelings towards something. It's okay to let it go. It's okay to start from scratch. And the reason why I wanted to do this episode today is because I want to help you get over the hump, the fear of moving on. When it comes to your job, you say like, hey, I spent so many years at this job. I've put in 20, 30, some people even 10 years into a job. And either A, they don't get promoted. B, some people are losing their pensions right now, which is really high. I'm gonna see if I can pull up that article because I was looking at it earlier. I think it was a YouTube video. A guy. lost pension after 30 years. And that right there was really scary. Not scary, but it's sad that it happened to him. I'm gonna see if I can share this with you guys because I really think that it's uh it's sad that it happened. But the fact of the matter is that it happened. Let's see if I can get this as a video. They don't have the video. What? I might want this. It was a TikTok video. Let me see if I can find it. Because one of the things that the guy did, he spent 30 years at this particular job. And
it ain't you. It's these motherfuckers right here. It's the motherfuckers top. Now we gotta do this shit. Yeah. You gotta do this shit again. Nobody tell me. Nobody here tell me why I get it. This is my fucking that's fine. You don't know what I motherfucking feel. I want my ass over this motherfucking. I did 30-something motherfucking years. I agree with you. 30-something fucking years. You tell me I ain't got no motherfucking pension. Nobody tell me to calm my ass down. Fuck everybody tell me to calm down. God damn it. This is my motherfucking money y'all playing, right? You're right. Fuck that shit. So this is what I'm saying. You gotta tell me how to motherfucking feel. Fuck that shit, man. So this is what I'm saying. Fuck this shit. Anytime the government analyze that. Anytime the government bails out a corporation or gives some shit, man. So this is what I'm saying. Fuck this shit. Anytime the government analyze that. Anytime the government bails out a corporation or gives some.
So listening to this, right? That already shows you that you can't live on your pension. And that time frame, you betting on something else that you expect to be there. There's not always there. And the thing about pensions, just pull this up right quick. You thinking like, well, what the heck is a pension? Because I don't have a pension. So not all jobs have pensions, right? What is a pension? Okay, so by definition, because I know you guys like to get with me all the time on these. All right. So by definition, a pension is a regular payment made during a person's retirement from the investment fund to which that person or their employer has contributed during their work life, right? So if you think about it, your job, if they're not putting in that money into the investment fund, or say all of a sudden that fund has gone away, you don't have a pension. Okay, pensions aren't guaranteed. Everybody know. Well, not everybody. Obviously, that guy didn't know it. He was planning on it 30 years. And now, because everything else is happening, he's actually out of his pension right now in 2023 with this economy. In this economy. You mean tell me this guy dedicated 30 years. So if you're there with a job, they change the policies all the time. So when they say like, hey, we can give you life insurance, we can give you group life insurance, we have it here at our job, or we have these stock options that you can kind of get through the job. That's fine and dandy. You can have your 401k with them. Fine and dandy. However, you need to look at outside sources. Outside of your job, you need to save. You need to make sure that you put your money elsewhere outside of your job, because there is no guarantee. Or as they say, guarantee. Because I recently was thinking like, hey, life insurance, I thought that was stupid. I mean, I didn't think it was stupid. I was like, okay, I got a job. Now they have life insurance. I was like, cool, I can enroll in that. Let's go down and do life insurance. Then I was like, all right, let me talk to some of the people that's in my network that actually sell life insurance, or as a life insurance broker. And let me ask all the details of what's happening. How do I actually go out and get my own life insurance on my own without dealing with all this extra stuff. And what I did was wind up taking that opportunity to invest in myself outside of my employer. And being outside of my employer helped me align my finances to the point where the employer no longer has full control over my finances. Because one, if you think about it, they already pay you, right? Then it was like, oh yeah, let me keep some of that money right quick. I can invest it for you for that pension, right? They invest some of that money into that pension. Then they was like, oh yeah, we can handle your life insurance. And they take a little bit more out of your check for that life insurance. Oh, it's like, oh yeah, we got dental too. You know, some of that dental. Then you can go over and get the dental. And then it was like, oh hey, don't forget that vision. You need that eyesight, right? You know what I'm saying? You need some of that for your children, right? These are the things that you need to start thinking about when it comes to your family, your life. This is your sunk cost. The reason why a sunk cost can actually decrease your value, you just saw the guy losing his whole pension from the job because they decided not to anymore, right? Now, here's another example. This is another extreme example of why sunk costs can actually cost you your life and decrease your value. And when I say decrease your value, I mean really decrease your value. So this was in the news just recently. Miami Dade police chief hospitalized after shooting himself on a Florida highway. Wonder if I can play this here. Let me know if you guys can
The
hear
sheriff
it.
here in Hillsborough County is confirming that Freddie Ramirez is suffering from a self-inflicted gunshot wound. Reporting today here from the sheriff here in Hillsborough County is confirming that Freddie Ramirez is suffering from a self-inflicted gunshot wound. Reporting today here from Tampa, downtown Tampa, where the Florida Sheriff's Association summer meeting is happening. And Ramirez being the director of the Miami-Dade Police Department, certainly appropriate for him to be here. According to investigators, this incident happened last night. The sheriff here in Hillsborough County says it started with a domestic dispute between Ramirez and his wife, and then they left here late last night, somewhere around the 11 o'clock range, headed to the south end of the county. And the sheriff here says that Ramirez pulled over on I-75, and the sheriff says Ramirez shot himself. His wife was in the car. A source tells us she's the one who called 911. The Florida Highway Patrol responded to the scene. Florida Senator Rick Scott is here addressing the Sheriff's Association. You're going to hear from him in a minute. First, though, here's the Hillsborough County Sheriff on some of the details regarding this incident. Listen.
Processing the evidence to this point in interviews that we're conducting that it was a self-inflicted gunshot wound. We do know that he probably has a long road ahead, a lot of surgeries, but he is going to survive.
Couldn't ask for a more respectful person, somebody that cares about others and wants to do a good job.
Ramirez was rushed here to downtown Tampa, to Tampa General Hospital. The latest information we have is that he is in critical but stable condition. You heard the sheriff there say he expects Ramirez to survive. Reporting from Tampa, I'm Steve Lutz, NBC6 News.
Oh man, can you imagine like what the wife is going through? All because of his sunk costs. He never actually took into account what else he has going on. All because he felt like he couldn't live with himself anymore because of all the investments that he put into the job. He was in the process of losing his job. And when it comes to living your life and you talking about these sunk costs, oh yeah, I'm gonna live this life for the longest. I'm gonna be with this person for the rest of my life. But also he hit his wife. And you talking about the life insurance, right? You got whole life insurance and they found out about this. Do you think his premiums went up because of this? Like, Vern, you hit that right on the nose. You know, some people are depressed. But are they depressed? People could be depressed for many reasons. I don't want to try to say like, hey, what was going through his head at that time. However, people get depressed when they lose stuff. I know it. I get hurt all the time. Like if I put in so much effort, like say like with my marriage, I put so much into it, and all of a sudden my wife wants to leave me. I'll be hurt. I'll be depressed because then I'll start going through my thoughts like, hey, did I waste my time? What was really involved in this? Why did I do this all this long time? And then realizing that, hey, I could have just been single this whole time. You know, that's where that sunk cost come in. I feel emotionally hurt. I feel lost in that process. I would feel that, you know, hey, all these things that was happening, I would feel depressed. However, I was also in a prior relationship for 6 years. So some of you know, some of my followers know already. I talked about this multiple times throughout my show. Is that I was in a relationship for 6 years. And finally leaving that situation was that I had to learn how to cut ties. I had to learn how to remove myself from that situation because then it was getting to loss of money. I was investing so much into that relationship financially as well that I became broke and my credit score dropped heavily when I was getting out of it. I had to then think about, all right, all this time and effort that I spent into this relationship, what did that do to me as a person? I was losing myself in that relationship. Okay. I had to reinvent myself by start focusing on myself and where I needed to be and where I wanted to be. I was no longer giving in to the sunk cost analysis anymore. I think I'm at the point now, it's like, you know what? Hey, long as I'm breathing, long as I'm talking, long as I'm able to make choices for myself, that's freedom. Not worrying about all this extra stuff that's going on. Okay. When you look at one of the perfect examples that I've seen over and over again, I'm not sure if you guys are a House of Cards fan, but they talked about this one episode where the Buddhist monks were actually like using sand to create a awesome mural on the ground. And then all of a sudden they just kind of sweep it away after spending, I think they spent like almost a month creating this awesome design. And then after that, they just kind of wash it away. I cannot recall what it's called. Say monks create mural, sand art, then throw a in river. See if I can find it. Because there was one time where a kid destroyed. Yeah, there we go. I found it. Let me see if I can share this right quick with y'all. Add the stream.
Tibet, a peaceful nation 16,000
These are the
feet high
Tibetan
in
monks.
the
It's about
Himalayan
4
mountains.
minutes, but the ultimate thing is this is talking about, again, the art of just letting go. Because I want to, like I said, I'm taking you through this full journey of what it is to first understand what is a sunk cost and actually how to move beyond it. Because life is too short to allow things to just kind of hurt you. Sunk costs, I mean, geez, we have so many things taken away from us. We just gotta keep moving. So let's look.
Tibet, a peaceful nation 16,000 feet high in the Himalayan mountains. A place where the Dalai Lama and Buddhism inhabited this remote region for over 1,400 years. But by 1959, nearly all was lost to communist China. Hundreds of thousands of Tibetans were killed, and almost all of their Buddhist monasteries destroyed. Today, many Tibetans still live in exile, cast out to nearby India or faraway places like California.
Many people in the United States so far has been so kind towards us so that we can survive for a few more years.
Shanu is an Indian-born Tibetan monk with the God.
All right, so I'm gonna try to skip through some of this because it looks really good art. Like, look at this, man. It's really nice.
One grain of sand at a time, the Tibetan monks create what is called.
Hold on, let me rewind that a little bit back because this kind of explains the art, and this is what I'm talking about, the sunk cost. Okay.
So there were curtains everywhere you cannot see.
So in a monastery, you wouldn't be able to see this,
Yeah,
but
you can.
this is special
Yeah,
circumstance.
so
One grain of sand at a time, the Tibetan monks create what is called a sand mandala.
A sand mandala is a 2D rendering of a 3D palace.
Carolyn Wells is with Placerville Friends of Tibet, a group that's helping the monks travel throughout California on a cultural mission.
Even today, there are monks and nuns and lay people walking across the Himalaya to come out and be able to live more freely than they're allowed to do in China.
The sand mandala is a ritual rich with symbolism, often portraying Buddhist gods. Who? Tell me again, who is this right here?
okay, that's the deity Chenrezig, Buddha of compassion in the center, because it is his sand mandala, his palace.
Chernzig is the god of compassion, chosen specifically for this event, but the sand mandala as a whole has a much bigger meaning.
It symbolizes impermanence. The capacity or the situation in our world is that everything is born and everything dies.
All right. So she just said something there that was really interesting. Okay. So everything is born and then everything dies, right? So having that understanding that, you know, we are part of this circle. So understanding like, hey, you're in a particular moment for that moment. All right. I can say you just do so much. It's so great. Okay, let's keep going. Because I want to get to the part where they actually destroy it. Here we go. They have a little ceremony.
When we see the sand mandala set, same message we have to take from the sand mandala to each and everything. Maybe my beads, my clothes, my body, everything. One day it has to be go. So by that way, when these things go, there is no suffering for you.
Nothing in life is permanent. It's a difficult message to learn, and it's difficult to watch the sand being mixed. But the grains don't go to waste.
We're going to distribute a little bit sand towards every public. So by that way, they can use those sand to bless their corners, their house, their property.
The Tibetans have experienced loss of life and loss of land, but donations gathered along their cultural mission will help younger Tibetans carry on the tradition at home.
And it only takes approximately $2 per person per day to house, clothe, feed, and educate 1 month for 1 day.
Nothing in life is permanent, but culture and tradition can be passed on, and that's the lesson to learn today. In Cameron Park, John Bartel. Hope to see you on the back road.
All right, cool. We're gonna move this guy out of the way. But this goes back to, again, what in the world is sunk costs? I know it's almost like 30 minutes in, but I want to make sure that you got a full understanding of different examples of what the heck sunk cost is. Yeah. So, Vern, you say, yes, life has so many twists and turns. We have to be flexible. That is definitely, we have to be as flexible as a blade of grass, right? We see grass grows just about everywhere. I swear I'm getting tired of cutting grass. But we know that grass will grow in the harshest conditions. It will bend with the wind, but yet it still grows. As long as it finds a patch of dirt somewhere, it will grow. Even when you cut it, it will still grow. It all depends on how the roots and how deeply rooted it is into its mission, which is to continue to grow. Okay. That's how deeply rooted I want you to be. But when it comes to your sunk costs, I don't want you to be that deeply rooted. All right. So the sunk cost, for example, is just talking about your past experiences or your investments that cannot be recovered, regardless of your future decisions. So as we saw some many examples, like we talk about time already, we talk about the money that was spent on someone, we talk about the effort that we put in to either the relationships, the projects, our jobs, and just realizing like, you know, hey, it's something that we made by emotionally attaching ourselves to those prior investments. And this just really makes us hard to let go. And so you start talking about some of the sunk cost fallacies because you move on to that next level, which is that the sunk cost fallacy, which occurs when an individual or individuals let past investments dictate their current choices, even when it's irrational. So, I mean, just think about it. You have spent so much time inside this job that you decided to just start trashing it because they don't care about you anymore, right? You start making those poor decisions and just start messing up your whole progress that you had on yourself because you want to make this one bad decision of just destroying the place. Now you start to emphasize with the cost analysis is a rational approach to the decision making that involves assessing like future benefits and costs. So just being irresponsible of past investments. I mean, we have to move on. Like Fran said, it's just we gotta be flexible. Okay. Now I just want to take on into like the long-term perspectives. All right. So which is considering the long-term implications of decisions and how sunk cost analysis kind of helps avoid being anchored to the past. Okay. So as you get older, think about it as from a child's perspective. They don't understand why you go to work, or they use that limited knowledge to kind of get an understanding of why you're out the house for so long. And then you come back and then you get to play with them again. But their sunk cost for them is that emotional bond with you, that time that they spend with you, right? And so, like, say, even when you take them out to go buy a toy, they was like, oh man, I really want this toy. And then they get the toy, they bring it home, they have so much fun with it. And, you know, it's just so great. And they spent all this time playing with their toys. And then all of a sudden, you throw them away, right? Say all of a sudden you threw them away because you notice that they're not playing with them as much as they used to. But when you get older and you're looking back at yourself, or as the child gets older and they look back at all the toys and everything like that, do they feel as though they let something go? No, it's part of the journey. They had to let it go in order for them to can make room for more things inside their lives. And I want you to think about that as well. When you're going through life, there are things you're going to have to say no to allow something else to fill it, something more more fulfilling, something that will blossom in you because you let that thing go. Okay. These are the long-term perspectives of just letting go from the sunk cost analysis side of the house. We just got to make sure that happens. So let's move on to the opportunity costs, right? The opportunity cost of having a sunk cost is that we start looking at the potential benefits foregone when choosing one option over another. So let's look at the trade-offs. So you try to help somebody to make them let's see, how you gonna do the trade-offs? It'll be a trade-off. So it's like almost like you're saying yes to one thing. Because you're saying yes, you're actually saying no to another. So because you're saying yes to continue to stay inside this relationship that you spent years with this person and you feel like you're not getting anywhere, then you're saying no to yourself. You're saying no to your true self on how relaxed and just when you're away from that person, you just feel that sense of ease, that calming of it. This is where you want to start talking about that sunk cost. Like, just let it go. Like, so you can say yes to peace. And I cannot tell you how many times peace is more valuable than anything. I can tell you that right now. Like, it's so freeing, you know, to just think about being by yourself and actually just embracing like, hey, I'm happy with who I am. I'm happy how far I've come. And I am sure happy and hopeful that I will do amazing things in the future because I was able to let go. So now that I can bring in more. Now, the focus on the future gains of by letting go, you can shift your focus from the past loss or your sunk cost to your future gains, which is your opportunity cost when making those decisions. Okay. And that's exactly what I was just talking about. So now let's go on, and now that we understand the portion of letting go and just let things fall where they are, right? Just like no control, we have control over ourselves. This is the thing that we can control, how we react to things. Now let's start moving on into empowering our decisions. And I'm saying our because, hey, I'm in this with you. All right. I have things that I still need to let go and just kind of focus on me. These are a lot of things that we all have to kind of deal with. So the first thing that we've got to do is regain control. All right. You have to. I think this is really a must. Regain control over the decisions by breaking free from the influence of sunk costs in the fallacy. We just need to let that go. Okay. We need to just break free from that and be okay and be at peace. So now that we've done that, we've regained control over ourselves. And some of you might not be there yet, but those who are, oh man, you can't tell them nothing. Have you ever talked to somebody that's so happy and so freeing when they left that bad relationship? Man, they be like, hey, let's go on over here. You know what it is, right? So that is so great. So Mr. Bell, you say that if you're not flexible, you'll break. You are absolutely true. You're absolutely correct. Because not being flexible, they always break every time. And it's okay to be stern sometimes, but not every time. You will not make it successfully having that type of mentality towards everything. Now there's some who do, but it's very odd that that happens. But you can still stay deeply rooted to yourself, okay? And when you're deeply rooted with yourself, you can start aligning your goals, right? Which is, think about the sunk cost analysis allows individuals to align, well, really not individuals, it allow us to align our choices with our long-term goals and values. Again, staying deeply rooted with yourself, swaying from all the different ways that people are trying to tell you how to live your life, or the way how, oh man, you spent so much time and money into that relationship, or you shouldn't sell that house because you spent all that time and energy to fix that house up. A lot of people do it. So why can't you? But you know your goals. Their goals is not your goals. Stay deeply rooted to yourself. Get rid of that sunk cost. Start focus on your long-term goals and values. And by doing so, you can start embracing the change. Okay. We've been talking about letting things go and all this fun stuff, but you need to embrace the change and embrace the idea that cutting loose from sunk costs can lead to new opportunity growth, right? You spent so much time at that job, 10, like I said, you've been there 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, you get a pen. 25 years, you get an actual writing pen. 30 years, you get another pen. 35 years, you get another pen with a 3.5 in it. I've seen people get them. And that's all they get. However, some people say, well, they got paid throughout those 35 years. Yeah, whatever. However, I still think people should get a little bit more. If they've been with the company for 35 years, I think they should get at least 2 months off with a $10,000 bonus. They've been with you for 35 years. They invested several lifetimes. They could have 3 kids, so a kid every decade. And then you got a 30-year-old, a 20-year-old, and a 10-year-old, all invested in the company, and now they get to spend time with their family and so forth. Yeah, 35 years, I still think they should get at least 10 G's. 10 G's, 20 G's. I don't know what you guys think. How much does somebody get if they spent 35 years at the company and time off? I mean, come on. So, but if somebody has spent that much time, and as like I played before with the clip, he had 30 years invested, and then he walks away with nothing for 30 years. Like, come on. So these are the things that I want you to start thinking about. And I got one last clip that I want to play from the Wall Street Journal to kind of leave this with you all, because this is something that is dear to me. For me, I don't have any ties. So I'm like, hey, things don't go my way that aligns with my goals and where I want to be, I'm out of there. That's how it works. Business is business. You know, it's nothing personal. It's just business. So I want you to embrace the idea that cutting losses from sunk costs can lead to new opportunities and growth. All right. So let's go down and play this last clip. And I think that should be it for today. So let's see if this will play.
WeWork's IPO is coming as soon as next month.
Investors might rightly be wondering if it's a bridge to nowhere.
This is obviously an unprofitable company. We've seen a number of these companies come to market this year with actually mixed results.
A lot of numbers are swirling around, but if you really want to understand WeWork's business model, look at this one. $47 billion. That's how much the company is on the hook for in lease obligations leading up to its public offering. It says a lot about how the company works and why some investors are eyeing the risks. You probably know WeWork, which recently changed its name to the We Company, as an office space with a specific aesthetic. You know what we're talking about. The glass walls, plants, cafes, mid-century style furniture. WeWork's basic business model is to lease large spaces, transform them to look like this, and then rent them out to individuals and companies at a higher price.
Our software finds the best buildings in the best locations. Before we even begin construction, we build full 3D models to make sure we're creating environments that allow members to thrive.
As of 2018, the company operated more than 35 million square feet of space globally, and it currently occupies 528 locations in 29 countries around the world.
Speed is important because on average, we open 2 new locations every single day.
To cover the cost of the renovations and leases, WeWork charges individuals and companies through 4 different membership options. For one of the cheaper plans, a member can bring their laptop and sit in a common area if space is available. And for the most expensive plan, companies can rent out full offices, suites, or entire floors. WeWork also offers a service called Powered by We, full custom build-outs for larger companies. So why are some analysts and investors skeptical? Well, some are concerned with those lease obligations. When WeWork signs a lease on a building in the US, they commit to an average of 15 years. But WeWork's members only commit to an average of 15 months. WeWork's obligations top $47.2 billion, but its customers have only signed leases on $3.4 billion worth of space. Recently, the company has started signing more long-term clients, but still, with 528 locations, that's a lot of time and space to fill. It's unclear how much space WeWork needs to fill to break even, but the company's occupancy rate fell from 84% to about 80% in the final quarter of 2018. The company said the drop was caused by expansion. New offices traditionally take up to 18 months to fill. But it's unclear what would happen if suddenly fewer startups and freelancers were looking for workspace, which
you can actually tell like this was done so long ago. It's like, really? You really think a lot of people are going to be renting out these spaces? It's crazy. Let's continue. Let's go back to it.
Which could happen in an economic downturn. It's also unclear what would happen if existing tenants started to default. One place investors are looking for precedent is International Workplace Group, formerly known as Regis, a Swiss company with a similar business model to WeWork. During the economic downturn in the early 2000s, IWG's US unit filed for bankruptcy as its revenue fell, but long-term leases remained in place. WeWork has said its flexible business model would help keep it safe in a downturn. The company's rapid expansion has helped it stay out in front of competitors. But some
might have to stop pausing this because think about it, like you might be playing music that might be copyrighted, so you know how that goes. But yeah, so let's keep going. I think it's almost done. Let's try to speed this up a little bit
and flip it. And they have. A New York-based rival, Knotel, hit an estimated $1 billion valuation following a recent round of funding. And in 2017, Blackstone acquired a majority share of the Office Group, a flexible workplace provider in the UK.
Now, that's interesting about Blackstone. They actually own quite a bit of stuff. There's Blackstone and I think it's BlackRock, if I'm not mistaken. And I'm trying to figure out what is Blackstone is about, their company, or what their valuation is at. So their valuation, looking at them, they had $103.2 billion. Is their stock price? It's ridiculous. Oh, I'm sorry. It's $103.28. It's just so far away. But anyway, I think it's interesting. They actually headquarters in New York. And look like the company revenue at 2022 was $7.13 billion, which is quite a bit. So let's see what else they got. Let's go back.
Investors will have to decide if WeWork's size and flexibility are enough to protect it in a period of economic uncertainty.
All right. So that was one of the things that I wanted to share with you all about the, dealing with sunk cost, is that they put so much information and so much effort into their plan that never happened. It never went fully through. And so these are the things that I want to share with you all, is that no matter what you're going through, don't worry about the sunk costs. Just let it go. It's cheaper to walk away and continue on with your life and focus on what you need. Do not let the sunk costs impact your life for the long term. I want you all to be safe out there. If you are going through problems, or you're going through some troubles and you just need somebody to talk to, hey, just shoot me an email at anthony@aboutthatwallet.com. I will respond when I can. I am horrible with emails, but I'm trying to get better at them. With that being said, in the upcoming week, I believe next week, Tuesday, I will be releasing this episode called Girl Boss Up and Lead. All right. By the Financial Mommies. You can actually follow her at Financial Mommy on Instagram, Facebook, and Pucky on Facebook, actually. But she's also on Twitter as Financial Mommy. And this is what she looks like. You guys can see it. So she will have all this information. So I'm actually be willing to produce her episode and have that up and running by Tuesday. So please make sure y'all lock in and make sure you guys like this episode if you got something out of it, and share it with somebody that would really is going through a tough time right now and just needs some guidance on what to do with their issues. Being fully invested is one thing. It's okay to let it go. And I just don't want you to go be depressed over something that you could easily walk away from. You have the choice, you have the power that within you to do what you need to make life better for yourself. All right, everybody. Again, the show is for you. So I do want to take if you guys had any questions, but I do appreciate Phil for coming through. Vern, thank you for coming through. As always, it's been a pleasure to have you guys on in the chat here. And for those of you who are listening, I greatly appreciate you listening through Apple, Spotify, and wherever else you listen in the podcast. I greatly appreciate you. Please go ahead on and like and subscribe, and make sure you share this. All right, everybody. Y'all be safe. I'm out. Peace. And let me get this outro. Deuces, everybody.